Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, first of all, Alhamdulillah, we are here at the session for the Islamic finance industry, and I would like to apologize on behalf of the organizer because we actually had started off with some technical hiccups. All right. So for today, we have actually three planned speakers to begin with this interesting topic. We have Prof. Dr. Amir from Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia. He is actually well-known. He is actually a well-known social scientist in Sharia with the expertise of Islamic finance as well as head of the Waqaf organization. I think this is also a very good opportunity for our close-knitted audience today, okay, to begin some knowledge sharing. And initially, the idea of this conference online is to start with the networking of young halal talent in this area. Let's welcome Prof. Amir.
Okay, let me share my screen first. Hello.
Yes. We hear you. Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Amir.
Yes. I'm trying to share my slide.
All right.
Still cannot get to the slide.
Okay, here we are able to see your slide. It is good. The roles of
Okay.
Waqaf in post-pandemic economic recovery. Alhamdulillah.
All right. Okay. So if I move the slide, can you see us? See them?
Yes, it is
All right.
moving. Is great.
Yes, can see. Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
All right. So can I start now? Yeah.
Yes, please do.
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, our friends, Dr. Alina, and also the organizer for inviting me. Today, I'm going to share with all of you about the role of Waqaf in post-pandemic economic recovery, especially from Malaysia experience. Ladies and gentlemen, this Waqaf, as we know, is one of the component of Islamic social finance. Because when we talk about Islamic financial system, mainly in Malaysia especially, it consists of three main elements or three main sectors. First, we have Islamic banking and takaful. Second, we have Islamic capital market. And the third one is Islamic social finance. So when we talk about Waqaf, so it always fall under this third category of Islamic financial system, which is called Islamic social finance. So under the Islamic social finance, it further categorized into mainly three elements. First, we have zakat. In Malaysia, for example, we managed to develop our Waqaf sector very aggressively and very, I say that it's very well developed because for our zakat collection, nearly 3 billion ringgit, almost I can say that around $800 million per year that we manage to collect zakat every year. So this is for the whole country. So the amount of zakat collected in Malaysia is quite is a huge and is a very significant. However, in terms of the Waqaf, this is area that I think in Malaysia we need to improve and we need to enhance, because our contribution of Waqaf towards the social finance, the society is still low and is very minimum. So we talk about a lot of potential of Waqaf, and we talk about there are many undeveloped Waqaf land in Malaysia that we face today. So another area of this Islamic social finance is sedekah. Sedekah, I mean the general infaq, charity. This is another area that I think we should focus on. But my topic today is about Waqaf, and I want to share how we develop our Waqaf and how we use the Waqaf instrument, especially during the pandemic COVID-19. Okay, so just before we go further into our discussion, the Waqaf in terms of the definition is an endowment of any property from which its benefit will be used for charitable purposes. So we have asset, we have money, so we give to someone for charitable purposes. That is Waqaf. But Waqaf is different from the general sadaqah because it has two underlying principles. First is the Waqaf must be sustainable. The asset of Waqaf. So that's why we said that this is sadaqatun jariyah. The reward from Waqaf is sustainable, will be long lasting until Yaumul Qiyamah. So that's why if we want to generate the reward from the pahala, the reward from this Waqaf asset, we need to sustain the asset, and also we need to grow the asset. It's not enough just to sustain and to manage to maintain the asset, but more importantly is to grow the asset so it can it can generate, or it can give benefit to people and to society. Okay, so okay, so the evolution of Waqaf asset. So in Malaysia, especially in 1960s, in 1950s, before we got independence from British colonials, mainly the asset of Waqaf is in the form of land, because at that time our society, those who rich, they got huge land, so they give part of their land as a Waqaf. So from this Waqaf, they built mosque, they built madrasa, and also they built, maybe they said, okay, this land I Waqaf for to build cemetery purposes. So in the past, our Waqaf practices just concentrate on these religious activities or religious purposes. So, but moving recently, I say that for the past 10 years, or decade previously, we are now promoting cash Waqaf because we got a problem. There are a lot of land that received by the authority of Waqaf, but it's not developed. It's remain idle. It remain nobody develop the asset. Why? Because one of the reason is because we do not have fund to develop the Waqaf. So in terms of this, that's why now the government and also the Waqaf authority, we promote aggressively the cash Waqaf, because we said cash is more liquid, then we can use for many purposes or many activities, charitable activities by using cash. But moving forward, I think that the classification of Waqaf asset will be enriched and will be growing because we know that in the future we will create a new form of asset like database, like this intellectual property. So all of this, I think, will be considered as the Waqaf asset. So I think this is in the future, inshallah. And next, I would like to share the maqasid of the very objective of Waqaf, because this is need to be understand very careful, because especially for the administrator of the Waqaf, because the first thing is the very objective of Waqaf is to seek Allah bounty, and secondly, Waqaf instrument is the purpose of Waqaf instrument is to enhance standard of living. So um, so because previously when we talk about Waqaf, especially in Malaysia, we understand Waqaf from the traditional or conservative perspective. Waqaf, if we receive a Waqaf land, so it always meant to be to build mosques. It's always meant for the religious purposes. But actually, we study from our past experience, especially during the Ottoman period, during the Abbasid period. This Waqaf is utilized in order to enhance the standard of living. It should be, the Waqaf asset should be developed for improving our quality of life. So that's why, for me, Waqaf is different from other sedekah form, because Waqaf is targeted to give long-term impact. This is, I think, very critical to be understood, because this is differentiate between Waqaf and other sedekah or other infaq activities. Okay, so that's why we say that we are moving from our traditional understanding of Waqaf to contemporary practices. So Waqaf assets are mobilized to fund productive economic projects. These include halal activities, because halal activities will generate production of food, production of the food security aspect. So this is very critical. For example, in Malaysia, we have around 30,000 acres of land Waqaf in all over the country, and only 15% of the land are developed. Meaning that 85% are undeveloped. So why can't we for example, we use this land to grow food and to grow plantation, so it will produce food and also produce income to the country. So this is one example how we said we want to manage more productively our Waqaf asset in our country. For example, in for the last 8 years ago, we have this land, and then from the government fund, this to build this hotel, about 100 rooms of hotel. So now my foundation, our foundation, Malaysian Waqaf Foundation, now we manage this, and the income revenue that we receive from this hotel will be shared with a religious authority, or we call it here Majlis Agama Islam Negeri, and Majlis Agama Islam Negeri, this religious authority, when they receive income from this hotel, they can give the benefit, or they can use, they can share the money with various asnaf and various poor groups of people. Okay. However, we do have, when I look at the Waqaf institution in Malaysia, and I compare with Waqaf institution around the world, we can see that the Waqaf problem in Muslim country is because of the legal framework that govern the Waqaf institution. You can see there are two models. One is decentralized model. For example, in Indonesia, or maybe in some Arab countries, they adopt this decentralized model where peoples or individuals are free to set up or to establish Waqaf institution, and they are free to initiate Waqaf project. But however, the responsibility will be raised to the institution. So people are free. If they have initiative, they can go on and they can do it without any interference from the government or the religious authority. So they are freedom. They got freedom, freedom. But this sometimes give disadvantage, because it open for manipulation, or open for abuse of power, abuse of wealth, abuse of trust that people give to this organization, because there are no centralized body who manage them, who control them, who monitor them. So maybe this fund or this foundation, they use Waqaf fund for their personal interest or personal objective. So there are disadvantages for this model. However, in Malaysia, we do adopt, or we do apply the centralized model, where we have authority who control, who monitor, and who govern our Waqaf institution. So they are in our law, in our enactment, this religious authority, they are the sole trustee of Waqaf institution or Waqaf asset. But this also gives problem to our Waqaf sector, because of the centralized power that we give to that the enactment give to them, the law give to them, the development of Waqaf asset is very slow, because they control everything. They don't open up for the corporate to get involved, and also for the any individual or foundation who want to manage Waqaf and who want to develop the Waqaf. So this makes our Waqaf sector, it's very, very, to me, is very slow and slowly progress. So that's why I think the best model, from my observation and my experience, is to mix between, to find ways between these very free or liberalized model, and with mix of the control from the government. So I think I can see that this is one of the problem issues surrounded in Waqaf sector. That's why in Malaysia, for example, we have 14 states in Malaysia, and these 14 states, they have religious authority, and this religious authority, they control the development of Waqaf. But some state, they quite open, they open up, but very limited to professional to manage the Waqaf asset. For example, we have Waqaf An-Nur, My Waqaf, very recently established by Islamic Bank, and also universities who apply for the endorsement. We said it's mutawali, authority from the state to manage Waqaf on their own. Okay, so next is, for example, just to share with you the collection of Waqaf in our institution at Yayasan Waqaf Malaysia, Malaysia Waqaf Foundation. For example, if you can see, the total collection of Waqaf is still low, considered is compared to Zakat. So total cash collected for the past, I can say 10 years is about only 20 million ringgit. So this we collected in 10 years. So it's not, to me, it's not it's not an achievement because actually for the past 3 years we only managed to collect about 2.8 million for the 3 years from 2018 up to 2020. And this 65% of the cash Waqaf were distributed to the state religious authorities. That I say the sole trustee of Waqaf asset in Malaysia. All right. So actually, when we look at this focus of Yayasan Waqaf Malaysia, or Waqaf in general, we state that this all the cash that we collected is meant to benefit the education sector, health sector, economic empowerment, and also to maintain and to preserve the environment. So there are 4 main focus of Yayasan Waqaf Malaysia, and also the Waqaf sector in Malaysia in general. So for example, during the COVID, we collect cash Waqaf, and we purchase or we supply beds and also all the medical equipments to hospital. So using Waqaf fund. Right. So around 1.5 million is we have donated and also give Waqaf for 3 government hospital in Malaysia. And also for Waqaf education, there are 2 types of distribution. The cash that we collected, one we convert into building schools, and we convert it into building the mosque in the surah or the musalla in the school, and also to build labs for the student. And also we also invest the cash and profit or dividend received from the investment, the cash investment, we will distribute in terms of giving laptop, giving internet data and stationaries to the student. So this is how we manage our cash Waqaf in Malaysia. Secondly, recently we have initiative because we closely work with the Ministry of Environment and Water because in Malaysia, even though consider we are quite a developing country, but still in the rural area, in the remote area, our villagers, our people, they did not get a clean water supply. So we come up with this initiative, Cash Waqaf initiative, to supply clean water to our villages and also peoples in the remote area and also in the rural area. Okay. So how also now we are moving towards investment and Waqaf. For example, we work with the industry, Islamic finance industry. For example, Kenanga Investors India Berhad is a unit trust company. So they come up with product where investors in unit trust, when they invest in Kenanga, for example, a specific fund, so this fund will be managed by Kenanga investors, and profit from this investment will be shared between some dividend will be returned back to the investor, and some of it will be channeled to Waqaf. So from Kenanga point of view, they are the fund manager, they invest and they will share the profit to two. Some of it they return to investors, some of it they will channel it to Waqaf fund. So same goes to Maybank asset management also. So for example, they are targeted 50 million of fund of money. So this 50 million will be invested, and this I think is a very good initiative because as an investor you will not only you get your monetary or your worldly reward, but also you are at the same time participate in Waqaf. Right. So today we are moving because in Malaysia recently because of this pandemic, many of people they are getting less income. And many people, because of the economic situation, is very affected, badly affected by in many sectors. So people are trapped to become urban poor. Those poor is not only now living in villages, but in especially in cities, we have a problem of urban poor. So there are two issues that faced by these poor in the cities. One is housing, and second is the education. So we are now trying to develop or trying to use this Waqaf, cash Waqaf, in order to help the poor to get out from this poverty problem. Okay, so recently, because of the pandemic also, pandemic COVID-19 also, there are many people become jobless because of the situation. Many factories close, and also shops are not open up, so they have to retrench many of their workers. So people become jobless. So now we have this Food Panda, and also Grabs, who make a food delivery. So using cash Waqaf, we purchase motorcycle for the riders, and this is Waqaf motorcycle, and then we give to the jobless people, teenagers, and also family, and they can use this motorcycle to get income from as a food delivery guy. So we collaborate with one of big Islamic banks. So with the support of this Islamic bank, we start up with 50 motorcycle first, and we train the jobless. We give education, and because we don't want them only to ride a motorcycle at the end of the day. We want them at the end of the day become businesses and also entrepreneurs, so they can have their own business. Maybe they start with just become a food driver or a delivery guys, but we want them actually to become, at the end of the day, to become owner of a business. This is what we aim to. Right. So I think with all this initiative, we need to have this very to bear in mind that these three critical success factors in any Waqaf initiative. first is we need to have, in a country, we need to have a sound legal framework. Second is good governance, because we are managing with public money. Public or society entrust us with their money, their Waqaf asset and Waqaf cash Waqaf. So we need to have the Waqaf institution need to have a good governance, the proper transparency, proper reporting. All of this should be implemented in the Waqaf institution. And also, in order to sustain or in order to make sure that Waqaf project initiative will be long lasting, we need to have this funding, sustainable funding. I think with these three, inshallah, the Waqaf institution will be sustained. And my next slide or last slide is, I just want to share with you the challenges that we face in Waqaf development. First, one is the competent and skillful leaders and managers. Unlike Islamic banking sector, Islamic capital market sector, I can see that the social finance sector, we need more talent. We need more leaders and capable managers, because they are not only the one who can think about how to distribute the Waqaf and also the Zakat, but we need someone who can drive the economic activities from the Waqaf and also the Zakat fund. So that's why I think we need, we are in dire need to have is a skillful and competent talent in Islamic social finance. And of course, lack of funding, especially in Malaysia, for example, as I said, if we want to make a project, economic project in Waqaf land, we need funding. So this funding is sometimes it's lacking. The religious authority, they don't have enough funding to fund the economic activities, investment in Waqaf asset. And also in Malaysia, compared to Arab countries, I think the knowledge of Waqaf is still low, still very minimum. So that's why I think we need to promote, or we need to aggressively share our activities in the social media with the teenagers about this is Waqaf activity. So now I think people need to know how the money, how we manage their money, and where we channel their money. What is the impact of their cash Waqaf into the society? So with that, but however, my last note is that we do have a very strong support. We do receive a very strong support from our government, from our federal government, to spur or to develop Waqaf sector. Inshallah, I think in the next 10 years, we can see inshallah, the Waqaf sector in Malaysia will be at least at par with Zakat sector. So we now have both strong sectors, Waqaf and asset. They can complement each other, and we can give a bigger impact to our society. So with that, Dr. Alina, I hope that all of you can follow my presentation. If you need or you have inquiries or questions, I'm ready to respond to all the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amir, for a very informative presentation on Waqaf endowment, as well as a foundation representing Malaysia. Okay, any questions from the audience? Let's check on the Q&A section. Okay, no Q&A, so while we wait for the questions from our attendees, Dr. Noor, perhaps you want to start first in terms of questions to ask Dr. Amir, who is the country's expert as he leads the Malaysian Waqaf Foundation. So I think this is a very rare opportunity, where we have the correct persons at the same online group.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi Dr. Alina. Rasa bersyukur. Yes, I'm very grateful. Rasa bersyukur kerana dapat jumpa pakar-pakarnya. I find that I'm blessed with the fact that I am meeting with a very experienced person. Now, I do have experience in witnessing one of the richest Waqaf organization in the Middle East. And when I say the richest means they have lots and lots and lots of money, abundance of money, which is even bigger than the size of the wealth of Saudi Arabia. I mean it when I say. So in other words, Waqaf is a very strong, Islamic way of accumulating wealth, where you can distribute the wealth for the community, for prosperity, for element of sustainability. That's where I'm coming in on sustainability understanding. Yeah? But the fact that people have many Waqaf as a very like a Ministry of Finance, whereas Malaysia, they didn't manage Waqaf as a Ministry of Finance. So I come from Ministry of Finance before because we are part of the agenda of how we look at funds in giving back to the community and so on. So somehow I think there is some need for restructuring on how we look at Waqaf as the other source of fund that's coming also from various Muslim communities that can support economic depression, especially now with the pandemic and so on, not just for the local, but we have to look at the fact that it can solve a lot of crises that we are facing right now. So to me, I'm very blessed with the fact that I met the expert. I have seen the success of Waqaf in other institutions, other countries. Believe me, it is beyond imagination the size of the fund that they are managing. But the fact that our country is low in expertise, I think this is where human resource capital, human talent, in understanding economic returns of this Waqaf, it's very shallow. Shallow not because we don't have the expertise, but people don't understand the job opportunity. Now, many people look at job opportunity as being in the banking, in the institution that, or in the area that they believe it's done by the academic way, because Waqaf is not in the mainstream of our academic curriculum. Therefore, people do not know how to get into this stream of the new job function. So personally, I believe it has to be driven by an academy that can understand industry, plus also the element of the social responsibility and sustainability. This is what my intake is.
Masya Allah, Dr. Noor. So, comment and input based from your professional experience, and it is wonderful to know that you had seen the big picture and had mentioned about economic depression, human resource and talent, as well as job opportunities. So these are actually big challenges, because what I noted, and I would like to throw these questions also to Dr. Amir and Dr. Noor back, that if we take, for instance, the halal industry, one top officer of JAKIM had presented in a slide in the year 2020, mentioning that at one time there are 344 Malaysian government agencies doing halal activities or halal support or halal official duties at the same time. But there appears to be a fragmented approach where they may be working in silo and not actually not doing it's not to say that they are not doing anything at all. They are very enthusiastic to do so many things, but in terms of the coordination to make it optimized. Okay, so how do we go about that, as Dr. Amir mentioned just now, to actually streamline it, make it seamless, make it more effective, efficient, and so on. So where do we start here? From academia, from the industry, from the community, from those funders, okay, as well as trying to earn the trust and respects. There are also many rich persons here in Malaysia, but whether they can trust and give and sustainably hope that whatever given is best managed by our system.
Okay, maybe I can respond first, yeah, Dr. Noor. I think as Dr. Alina mentioned, government agency, the way I look it, I think we cannot blame the government agency, because the nature of government agency, they are bureaucrat. Their thinking is different. So in order to develop our halal industry, I think we need to rely on a private initiative, the entrepreneurs who go into the market and also produce halal product. Because from my experience, our government servant or government agency, they are not risk taker, because they just sit down and then do like formal jobs. I can't see that much different that they can contribute to the halal sector. What we need is, for me, is to nurture entrepreneurs or producer and facilitate their needs in order to develop their business and halal industry. So this is how I look from my experience in Waqaf. Because we need people who really go into the market and also go into the lapangan. So they grow they develop the land. So if we try, for example, in my case, we have this Main, Malaysia Islam Negeri. They just relax and sit down. Sorry, so they don't do anything. Just for example, if they have Waqaf asset or Waqaf land, we hardly see their initiative to develop the Waqaf. So they put all the problems before the implementation. So we need a kind of entrepreneur who go into the field and do something there. I think that is so as you said, the coordination between the agency also another issue. We create a lot of agency but redundant. Ada yang redundant, have the same focus and then they compete each other. They do not know their focus. I think this is, we need some leaders who can coordinate and maybe close. There are so many agencies, so close some of it. That is my response.
Okay. From my view, I think you had shown to us your knowledge in terms of one very important slide, which mentioned about sound legal framework, good governance, as well as sustainable funding. So I hope one day, if you meet our respectable, beloved Prime Minister, perhaps that slides in terms of legal framework, good governance, it's not only sustainable funding, but open it for sustainable resources. And resources can even be not only money, but it can be human talent, it can be anything under the source, as long as it is a kind of tangible and intangible resource. Because I believe that, as Dr. Noor mentioned just now, we are actually having a gap here of imbalance in terms of skillful and competent leaders and managers. So what makes competent and skillful leaders or managers? Because when we just focus on producing more blue collar workers and perhaps thinking that just that to let them survive, but what about the investment or capacity building or development of those from the middle as well as the upper future talents for future leaders and future managers? So I really agree with what Dr. Noor mentioned just now about human resource and talent, as well as job opportunities. But I think with this scope, Dr. Noor has a very rich background because Dr. Noor, you had been as a top-ranking officer in the government agency before this. So I really don't know how to go about it, but how there must be a starting point where we can just start and just do and just grow. I can see that Dr. Amir suggested that those from the private sector starts, perhaps those from the university, halal or Waqaf or Islamic finance research centers from the universities should also work together with the private sector or NGO. But I don't know how that the Waqaf Foundation Malaysia can actually expedite or facilitate this initiative.
Yeah, Dr. Alina, I think I'm happy that Dr. Amir mentioned that there is a need for project managers. But the fact that why Malaysia are not as capable as any of our ASEAN countries is because we are job seekers. We are not project managers. Now, let me share a lot of my experience on sustainability. My background, the fact that I was from the government sector in reviewing projects when I was in the Ministry of Finance, to look at how much money was spent for the public sector and what was reported back to us for the money spent. As you can see, the reporting was very poor because the element was just to say how much money spent. How much money spent doesn't indicate impact, right? Because it is just about your expenditure on how efficient you are in spending. Now, when we talk about growing the economy of the country, when we move from the agriculture sector to the multimedia sector, I was involved directly because as one of the earlier people being hired under the Multimedia Development Corporation, a transformation that needs another batch of human capital, right? Where you need people to move from agriculture to manufacturing to IT and multimedia. Now we are talking about fintech. Later we'll talk to you about the fintech element. Now, the fact that what makes our Malaysian progress is when we are not just building entrepreneurs. When we will nurture entrepreneurs, the biggest mistake that we have when we give people money, they did not able to sustain the ability to work on the money because they were looking at it as operational costs. They're not looking at it as a project cost. Now, when I was involved with the sustainability element, with the fact that project is only successful if the project manager knows how to manage the element of 5P. Product, process, people, planet, prosperity. Now, when I look into that, when I found that it was so Sharia compliance, that is how I said, if this is what was missing in a lot of the entrepreneurial development program, is because people look at 3P, product, process, profit. So when they look at 3P, product, process, profit, therefore they forgot about the community, they forget about the environment. They forgot about the whole scenario about the ecosystem because they are looking for the capitalist way. Now, when we set up the Sustainable Business Network Association, we look at helping entrepreneurs to understand they want to sustain with a minimum amount of cost cutting, no wastage, high value driven, where you know how to manage your customers in a manner you have value to give back, not because you think about money. Now, I think I can work with Foundation because we have the framework to create sustainability, all right? Now, while I was being invited overseas for the framework, I know that Malaysia was not ready to accept because Malaysia is so driven by academic excellence because they look at the scores, they look at everything. Whereas other countries, they look at project excellence. Now, when they look at project excellence and academic excellence, the one that is going to be successful is project excellence, not just academic, right? Because the academic will just go for the job. They won't go for the project. Now, project has got a different takeoff because it has got the project deliverables, it has the project funding, it has to have an impact because project is about business. right? Not business and then get project. A lot of people set up business, lepas tu baru nak cari project. It should be you have project, then only you make it successful, then set up the business. Now, my suggestion, with the fact that we have set up a couple of new corporation before under Ministry of Finance, I was involved with the Multimedia German Corporation. I was involved in setting up Malaysian Debt Ventures. So I was one of the early people to set up a new bank, a technology bank with no collateral to be given as a syarat untuk bagi pinjaman. So you bayang tak? Tak ada bank pun dekat Malaysia dia kata can work this one. But because we follow the Sharia compliance coming from Japan, I was blessed to learn that it can be done, and it comes from Japan. It doesn't come from our Sharia compliance. Because why? Because we don't have that knowledge to understand banking, that it can be done. So to me, the vast knowledge that we have about setting a bank on the sustainability bank, this is where my passion was in 2014. When I know the roadmap towards sustainability is going very high, I said, yes, we need to have the sustainability bank on the Sharia compliance basis. Now, to set it up is easy. Get a license from your MOF. But you need the fund to back up the asset of the project. Yeah. So I think there is a model that, of course, I can work on later together with Dr. Amir. I believe this is very, very interesting because the government don't have the solution. It has to come from the people who understood what works, not about what we have, and in the end we cannot deliver, right? So we are not going to solve a manpower problem, a graduate problem, just because we want to fit them in. No, we have to solve economic ability where we have the asset. So I think the success factor of many of these Waqaf foundation, not because they don't have professionals, but they have it managed differently, not through any other element of how to call framework yang capitalist framework. Capitalist framework will go for profit. We must look in on the sustainability framework, which is the 5P: product, process, people, planet, prosperity. That's how I believe that fund that Waqaf have will create more better value for the people who are in need of it. So this is where I believe we can help support these issues.
Alhamdulillah, Dr. Noor, that is a very good proposal that we hope can be follow up. Because another thing which strikes me by interest is this: how about the young people who are highly energetic? Okay, usually these are among the age group of teenagers. Okay, when they are in the teens. And then when they reach early 20s, many of them have high energies. So can high energies and the good ways of volunteerism, because perhaps they don't have the money, but they have the enthusiasm and aspiration to contribute towards something better for the better world. Okay, so these are intangibles. How to channel their energies, perhaps a Waqaf of ideas or Waqaf of energies, and also thinking of the future technology, perhaps like biotechnology, biomedicine, and so on. There are like intellectual properties, intangibles, okay, higher technologies. So how can this also be translated into Waqaf so that we can not only try to manage in hand our current Waqaf problems, that means land, which is there, but it is not producing results because of lack of money or liquidity, but also to see what we have in hand in terms of people resource, the youngsters resource, as well as the brain capacity and talent management. So I think this question is an open question also for Dr. Amir and Dr. Noor to take the lead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think after this, I think Dr. Noor, you can come to my office. I think we can discuss further about how to work together for the sake of developing our Waqaf sector in Malaysia. To come back to Dr. Alina's question, I think we have to see first the nature of our Waqaf institution in Malaysia. If we study Dr. Alina, our Waqaf institution, mostly they are governed by Majlis Agama Islam Negeri, and who are the one who manage the Majlis Agama Islam Negeri. Because the behavior of Majlis Agama Islam Negeri will depend on their managers and their leaders. If they are open to ideas, new ideas and new ventures, I think we will go more progressively. But at the moment, in my experience, we have a gap between this Majlis Agama Islam Negeri and also those who want to contribute to Waqaf. So the ideas, I can see that there are a lot of ideas outside Majlis Agama Islam Negeri to develop the Waqaf asset, but the idea did not progress because of the managers in Majlis Agama Islam Negeri. They are not so open. So I think we need kind of leaders who can accept new ideas, fresh ideas. Then only we can facilitate the teenagers, the energy from the teenagers to contribute to our Waqaf. That's my comment.
For me, it's very simple. We need to create project managers. And right now, I'm working with agripreneurs that are looking for funds that they believe that they have land, they have all the intention to convert land into tanam kelulur, tanam jagung, tanam nanas and all that. I told them, when your project paper is not sustainable, you don't expect any funding agency to fund. It is not about a charity, right? It is about your ability to manage a project. So converting all these young talents, matching the young talents profile with project, that is what we are doing right now, profiling the unemployed or the people who are working for job with project-based. Their project, what is it they know about project, they can manage a project. It is not about your excellence of academic excellence in matching a job. That is in the past. Because I'm a recruiter before myself, so I'm a recruiter for oil and gas. So you can match with respect towards excellence in the job and excellence in the profile. But now we are talking about project. When we talk about project, the person's background in handling a project is not just because they have the ability to do well in their academic. It's the ability to understand the risk profile of the project, understanding the benefit of the values of the project, to what extent they can cut costs, reduce risk, and in the meantime, integrate, leverage, and integrate. So that skill is an additional skill. Normally, we give this skill in a 2 or 3 days program so that they become mampan. Project mampan, yang mana dia faham. Kemampanan itu is to ensure whatever kelas tarian yang kena ada, they kena maintain that while they are being mampan. So there is an element of pengurusan projek mampan di bawah projek lestari, not just all the time lestari. So to me, project managers is what is lacking among the undergraduates, the graduates. And I've been blessed, Alhamdulillah. I have been blessed, been invited by Polytechnic, Jabatan Pendidikan Politeknik dan Curriculum, JPPKK, di bawah Ministry of Higher Education. They was trying to do a sustainability project without even having a punjurian, no assessment. So how could you assess a project with no assessor? So who is going to be assessed? That's why when they invited us to be the assessor, we give them the criteria of assessment. And that's why they can then assess the project of their students, which one has got the sustainability impact, which one has not. Because we give them a framework of the 5P and how to do the assessment. So the graduation of these graduates, it not just the score in their academic studies, but they score in their project management in addressing the ideas of sustainability. That is what we are doing now with polytechnics, with universities, and also even now we go to the school. The school invited us to become assessor for their project, especially in Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri Perak. Ada 25 sekolah yang kita assess for their, they call it My Healthy Garden. We are not We're not even looking at their curriculum. That's their job. We're looking at the impact of their project for the community. That's where we assess to what extent you're able to contribute to the community, the environment, and the economy. That's where we are assessing. So I believe if I work with the foundation and with all the universities with the right approach of how we give them the right kind of funding, Sharia compliance, inshallah, our foundation will have a better way of managing both the talent, the capital, and the project, inshallah. Dr. Alina, you mute. Tak dengar.
When I look at the Q&A session, I can see one of our attendees had asked Dr. Amir and Dr. Noor a very interesting question. Perhaps you can answer your opinion. How do we jumpstart this?
Sorry, Dr. Alina, what is the question?
About Waqaf land to be rented for younger generation and build up of entrepreneurship leadership under sustainable business model.
All right, okay. So first thing, as we know that Waqaf asset is registered under the religious authority, our Mains, Majlis Agama Islam Negeri. So if you want to know where is the location of the Waqaf asset and Waqaf land, so we need to go to Majlis Agama Islam Negeri because they have the list. And their list, they will table to us, they will present us, okay, this is the project, it's ongoing project, and there is a Waqaf that land is idle. So the question whether can we rent the land, the Waqaf land, and we develop the land? The answer is yes. This is what Majlis Agama Islam is doing. They just rent out the land. So siapa-siapa yang nak develop the Waqaf asset tu, Waqaf land, so they can rent. But I'm not sure the process because certain state they have procedure differently. But yes, we can team up with, we can go to Majlis Agama Islam Negeri asking for land, and then we can rent out the land for our activities and for our project. Alright.
Okay.
For me, I know the person who asked this question, the Datin Ismadia, and she is very much, is part of Susnet also. She has also got a very strong way on how to train entrepreneurs, because she has also got a 30-acre land with tilapia omega-3, the first of its kind, and also land to develop fertigasi and so on. I think the ability to expand that success story to other Waqaf land, it's a repeatability yang kita nak buat. Sebab benda tu dah berjaya. So, for example, like last year, Susnet evaluated 192 projects yang ada sustainability impact. Yang kita tahu boleh menjana pendapatan, satu, dia dapat profitability. The meantime, repeatability boleh dijalankan juga di tempat-tempat lain. Sama ada in the terms of collaboration or in the terms of they develop it themselves with a business model that works. So this is what we try and say. Malaysia ni dia suka nak buat sendirian sebab dia rasa dia nak control everything. No, under sustainability you cannot do that. You got to leverage. You got to cut costs. You got to remove waste, and this is where it become mapan. Kebanyakan, because they are so used to the MBA way of producing a business model yang MBA, product process profit, dia tak nampak integration for the prosperity and for the community to embrace the environment also. So this is where we give a framework, and our framework is endorsed by the nation, and it is coming from international. I call it the mazhab of the sustainability. So we are the Malaysian chapter for it. That's why when we talk about bagi penganugerahan is because we can give them the true understanding about the learning, the true assessment about the project that they are doing, plus bagi penganugerahan kepada mereka yang ada 5P tu. We are not trying to make them apa orang kata vulnerable. We want to make them sustainable in the manner that dia boleh expand lagi kepada orang-orang yang nak buat. And Waqaf land tu is the other land that can benefit due to the success of all these project managers. We need successful project managers. We just need too many or they call people, but they cannot manage a successful project. So this repeatability is very important. So I hope, Dr. Amir, I'm very excited to meet you here, especially in this good forum. Inshallah, I'm willing to share to you how our framework works, because it's show Sharia compliance, and to the certain extent, you will see the project that a lot of our project managers out there are doing and very sustainable. Kita ambil diorang ni sebagai model, and we make all these asnaf, the B40 group, the single woman, all these people yang tak ada kerja ni, come to that model yang benda tu dah berjaya. And you just expand the land to the various community yang perlukan economic return in that area. So that's how we should structure.
Yeah, I think very good to know. I'm very lucky to join this forum. And
kita ada reason nak berjumpa kat sini.
Kita ada Datin Jadiah namanya.
Datin Ismadia.
Dr. Ismadia, yes. I think we are very blessed here by having the correct persons at the right place at the right time. Yes, right place at the right time, because what I see here is we actually really need to have like Dr. Noor mentioned just now, why not we get those officers and meet management or top managers from Main, yeah? Perhaps you can joint venture with ILIM, Institute Latihan Islam Malaysia. It can be like a sustainable awareness program, because I know that JAKIM or Main, they have their own very structured and very orderly schools, yeah, in ILIM, make it as part of the syllabus for project management, and also make an engagement or dialogues between ILIM or perhaps a Magic or MOSTI, okay, so that scientists, those who do project management, as well as those who are managing resources, funders, as well as the end users or recipients, small projects, perhaps those from secondary schools, from community, maybe mosques, or maybe the NGOs, okay, so it is targeted and specific, and then hopefully the resources will not be redundant or overlap, and the outputs can be measurable. So it can also be a part of our culture that we said wastage is actually the culture of the devil, okay, complacency, delay, and so on. So that I think we should have the Islamic perspective of barakah, sustenance, okay, to get the barakah of doing good, okay. And we can see from trying to break the mindset of even our Malaysian locals, okay, so which may start slow to take off, okay, like for instance those from the halal industry, the earlier takers may be mostly by the non-Muslim first in hotels and so on, because they believe that it can bring profit. So this is a justification to show the world that you need not be a Muslim, but if you do it halal the correct way, the barakah or the profit, what we can say, Allah SWT pay cash on this earth. It's immediate. You can see between higher profit returns compared to let's say if we don't do it and just focus on the conventional way. So okay, any more ideas, Dr. Noor and Dr. Amir? It's been such a very lively discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Alina. I think I'm okay. Thank you very much, and very happy to join this position. I hope that we can someday we discuss another day or another forum platform. And for me, I want to implement apa yang kita bincang ni lah. Kita nak buat jadi benda tu biar jadi lah. Yeah.
Kita kena jumpa Dr. Amir. Kita kena jumpa sebab kita the nation needs the collaboration of players so that we know how to join hands effectively, and then when people see the results, then I always believe this, tak payah pergi jumpa PM. Kalau jumpa PM tadi buat apa? So kita dah buat kerja dalam keadaan we are also doing something we don't even look at all, but when we do something, Mosti recognize, Magic recognize, Motek recognize, because we do it, we don't wait. For example, because kebetulan saya ni dah saya tahu selok-belok government kan, saya tak payah pergi sebab the fact is we want to see the results out there. The community is the one that wants to see impact. So we serve the community more. So when we serve the community more, it's easy for them to make our project sustainable. Kalau we serve only the elite will not make us sustainable. That's my message.
Yes, agree.
So itulah, nanti nak jumpa dengan Dr. Amir ni, dengan Dr. Alina sekali, insyaAllah.
Alright.
Inshallah, we are from the same university, Dr. Noor, so I think it's also easy. And another exciting point here is we have also Dr. Ismah from University UITM, who is actually the second speaker. And okay, so I hope Dr. Noor and Dr. Amir, you can still stay also, because Dr. Ismah will be presenting, I think, after this. Okay, so
Dr. Lina, lepas ni Dr. Ismah is my turn, so it's okay. I will be here, don't worry.
Oh, okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I hope Dr. Noor, you can be the connector also, because actually Islamic finance, Waqaf or wasiat and so on is not my my area. I'm more into science technology, so you are the better one. Alhamdulillah. Okay.
Inshallah.
Okay, so now I leave the second session for Dr. Noor to chair. All right. I'll just
automatically dia pass je. Okay.
Yes, because you know the best questions. All right. Okay, so thank you again, Dr. Amir, for a very delightful information. We hope that something starts here. Okay, so the ball is in our field now. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's have Dr. Ismah then about the topic. I'm not sure what the topic is, but I said after her is my presentation. So I'm also looking forward to hear from Dr. Ismah. Is Dr. Ismah around? I tak nampak dia punya existence.
Dr. Jamil Bidin also mentioned that there need to be better understanding of the role of the government and industry players to develop any industry, including halal industry. All right. Okay. So 5P framework, Dr. Smadia. Okay. So Dr. Noor, can we actually let you present first so that whilst I try to get Brother Noor to resolve some of the technicals. Okay. Dr. Noor, now the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Alina. Let me share the slides which, okay. Can I become the presenter?
Yes, please do. Okay, so how do I go about it? I'm asking Brother Noor. You will become the. Okay,
Yeah,
you are the presenter now. Okay. Okay, please proceed.
Yeah, I will. I'm trying to open my slides now. Slides? Nampak ke?
Alhamdulillah, yes, it's clear.
Okay, all right. Alhamdulillah. Okay.
So, Dr. Noor, can you
Dr. Alina, thank you very much.
Please introduce yourself of your background in a very detailed manner so all of us can really understand your experience and background.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Alina. Very simple. I've come from various industrial background, yeah, in the sense that I started with the government before under the Pegawai Tadbir dan Diplomatik di bawah Kementerian Kewangan, and my first degree is in mathematics, and I have been involved in the development of a lot of computerization policies in the early days, and I pursue my study in masters in business administration in University of Evansville and also University of Hull for my PhD in strategic management. And then when I came back, I was asked to join in the Multimedia Development Corporation, where the element of the new industry need to be taking off because our country was already having stagnant reports for manufacturing. So that was really a gear for me to move the IT industries towards a higher level. And this was way back in 1996 when I joined the MDEC, which is the first employee. And there I was involved in nurturing a lot of entrepreneurs in the IT world. Bayangkan dulu, we don't even, when we want to talk about e-commerce, technology, smart, smart card, yeah, telemedicine, telehealth, was really a big jargon word that we have to educate the community. And then in 2004, I was asked to also lead the bank for technology, which is called Malaysia Ventures, because a lot of the entrepreneurs out there, they were having contracts, but no one wants to fund them for their project. So I was involved in setting up that new kind of a bank. And because it's under Ministry of Finance, it doesn't work like a commercial bank. It's more of a project financing bank. And that I had the liberty to lead the business development division as a vice president. And we look at the application coming from a lot of the what they call fund seekers. That was where I believe the lack of our entrepreneurial wisdom on project financing is people think that the fund is an element of free gift. It's not an element of looking at it from the point of view as economic growth. Yeah? Looking at it from the point of view of settling my operation, handling my operation, not as how do I make the economy sustain with the fact that I am a player in the economy. So back then, we know that there was no solution. I couldn't find an answer to look at all this framework, yeah, until I met with Dr. Joel Carboni, who himself at that time was not Muslim, but now he is. So that it was really a blessing that I believe when he brought in the framework of sustainability to me, I said, Dr. Joel, you are a bit late in the sense that if I had this framework much earlier, I would have done a good job. So you see, no, there's never been late because this framework is only done about in the year 2010. No one could understand about sustainability in project management because there was no one who ever knew how to do it. So I had the liberty to know a lot about project management in the sustainable way. And when I reflect back why most of my entrepreneurs were not successful is because they were more looking at it from the 3P model, product, process, profit, as compared to the sustainable model, which is product, process, people, planet, prosperity. And because of that passion I have to embark the understanding so that a lot of technopreneurs out there and the merging of the new type of transformation of industries, yeah, whether it's biotech, agropreneurs, Bitcoin, yeah, blockchain, all these big words that nobody understood what is the project that they are involved in. So when I found that even the smaller SMEs, that one that's doing the halal, there's one that is doing the simple product services, they are also not sustainable because they're looking at process, not even looking at how they can contribute to support the economy. That's where my passion comes in when I set up a sustainable business network. I'm the founder of it. So a lot of people that comes into this network fully understood that what we need to share is a framework that can make business become more sustainable when they have got multiple projects that they are doing that are sustainable. So that's how I get it in. Then later, I was blessed I met a few other people and they wanted me to also assist in the digital entrepreneurship where a lot of the women out there, especially the women, where they lack not only the education or they lack a lot of more than the other opportunities that they miss, we have to bring them on board so that they can get a wider income stream or the income builder stream that they can benefit. So this way I look at fintech, the financial technology, as a means to have a better income builder for majority of our Muslim population, yeah, because we are Muslim. So this is where my presentation today for the young generation in Islamic financing, it's about the platform that has been integrated in a sustainable manner where it not only is Sharia compliance, but it has created a strong back for our Islamic trading, which is gold. Yeah, so gold has always been one of the best asset or the best metal that can be traded off with a higher value. Yeah. So this is what I'm going to share, my collaboration between fintech companies where they have developed a digital gold platform together with the commercial traditional way of dealing with gold in a platform that when you have a digital asset, you need to be having a collateral of an asset before you can transact with the digital way. So what is interesting about the fintech, which I want to share with you today, is the fintech that is backed by gold. So when a fintech that is backed by gold, so in other words, gold transaction can be done in a digital manner because the metal is going to be exchanged as the digital asset is being bought or transferred or exchanged. Yeah? So this is an element of good. So here are the people or the players that I am collaborating with as part of the ecosystem. Yeah, we don't own the fintech because the fintech is the technology, is a platform. But what we share as a collaborator is the fact that when it talks about gold, they definitely will have players like Aranu Cahaya, we have the Cahaya Gold Jewelry, we have the Pajak King and all that. Plus, we have the what we call the leading example of women entrepreneurs coming from Dewi, Dewan Perniagaan Wanita Islam, and also coming from SUSNET, which is the Sustainable Project Management Malaysian chapter for green project management, for sustainability project management, where we believe a lot of the entrepreneurs can be coached, can be trained, can be given competency how to manage their micro business in a much more sustainable manner, even though it's micro. Yeah? So they don't need to borrow fund if they know how to do these transaction in a much more sustainable manner in the digital way. So the platform, as you say, the I must goal has got the technical platform. They have got the iGoal house where you can do a lot of your viewing on the type of goals that you want, the different kind of design that you want, and also type of the other investment that you want to do when you want to not go into jewelry, but you want to go into gold bar. So where you have to have the element of having the different kind of gold, which is the 999 gold, whereas the jewelry gold is the 116 gold. So there's an element of the traditional meeting the technology, and that's why now you got the fintech to handle the digital gold platform. So just why people now see the digital gold as a digital wallet, I think this is where many people will not understand what it takes for people to invest in a small manner, but in a much more stable product, which is gold. And because gold itself, it's a value that has got more stable than any other metal. And this is where the players is here. And we also have got the collaborators. So Sustain is very much involved in the digital entrepreneurship, in the training and human capital, and ensuring that the people know how to sustain their ability to look at micro projects as part of their income builder. Yeah, because they doesn't need to invest in big. You just have to invest in a small manner, but yet have got return for it, and because it's gold. Now, when I talk about the fintech, the company, so I Must Go and iFintech Solution, they are the one that merge these two together, and they have the Sharia compliance board of directors coming in together to look at all the elements of our Islamic foundation of how you do trading in the commercial manner and also in the digital manner. So the little bit that I know about what fintech is as a company, those days when we talk about fintech, it has never been heard of. We talk about e-commerce, yes. We talk about technocrats, we talk about payment way, it's simple. But when we talk about fintech, there's an element of a new security. There's an element of a new way how transaction is done, where the digital is not exchanged in cash. The digital is exchanged in another form of material. Yeah. So this is where the blockchain comes in to securitize a lot of the transaction and to give a valuation which is much more friendlier than using our the way our money is being designed or being denominated. So this is how we believe the fintech way has got more security, is more reliable, and it's more economy because it is more near to the price of the product as compared to manipulated by the currency exchange. Yeah. So this is where it becomes more Islamic. Now we talk about why we need to trade things in gold, because gold has got value. And because gold is a metal that every country is looking for, it has an asset value which is manageable, it is truly transparent, yeah, it is very economical in the sense that it gives a lot of impact for the country to grow because it is backed by gold. So there is an element of a currency exchange that can be done because it's gold. So this is where previously people like to do the gold dinar and all that, but it cannot transact because the timing was not correct. And there's many legal matters that was not in place. So most of the technology element, why it takes some time for the transformation to happen, because there has an element of legality, there's an element of insurance, there's an element of of course, the human resource capital, the element of the business model. If the business model doesn't work, the whatever technology and innovation idea that you have, it will not take off. That's why a lot of innovative products, it takes time for the innovation to be reaching to the community, because the community need to feel what they're purchasing, yeah, even though it is in a digital manner. So there is it takes normally a period of time for it to mature before the community can feel the critical mass of purchasing such a product. So fintech, I think they have done a tremendous amount of work in the back end from their early days until today. They have understood the whole concept about digital gold, where now the exchange is very transferable, it's very reliable, it's secured, and it is, of course, verified. Yeah, verified. In other words, you cannot transact a digital gold exchange without having the gold behind it. So you need to have that transaction done in a very professional manner. And this is where the fintech behind it, it's very transparent, very professional, and it has been verified and scrutinized by Bank Negara and all the other agencies that look at it. Yeah, so that's where we become very complacent to the Sharia compliance. Now, when you look at the entrepreneurship, this is the opportunity. When we talk about in those days, when we create a road, then you will see stalls on the road, because there is an entrepreneur development that can be done along the roadside. Now, the same thing with the digital gold platform. When you start to create the gold platform, you will have a lot of people, entrepreneurs, parking themselves along the platform because they see the element of their backbone to do a business. Now, there are many people who can do the trading of the gold because it's easy. If it's in the form of jewelry, it's easy. When it's in the form of gold bar, it's also easy. When it's in the form of an account, like a saving account, it's also easy, where they have already an outlet if they want to exchange for a product, and they also have got the leasing element if they want to do leasing or pajak, and all the element of if they want to resell it and be re-evaluated, there is an element of servicing the client. So there is a complete ecosystem that is being developed out of this fintech. So the beautiful part is, a lot of us, maybe we would want to go into the digital world because it is something quite strange or still new. So a lot of people still want to see the gold. So you can go to the iGold house and you can look at all the kind of designs. And if you have your savings, your account open, you can exchange it for whatever gold that you want. So there is an element of the transaction back to gold or gold back to cash and time stuff. So there is an element of two-way highway that brings the easy way of how to do the transaction, very transparent. So if you look at savings, the price of gold has been very, very lucrative, and there is a high demand of it within the year 2007, and now you can see what the price of gold have been and where it has gone to the lowest. Yeah, so you have seen where it is a very high commodity that people sought for. Fixed deposit, you can't rely on the fact that if you were to just put your cash in a fixed deposit, the returns are not very high. But if you were to put your gold as a fixed deposit, and the fact that the gold price is going to go higher and higher, you will sure get much more better value of your benefits if you put it as a fixed deposit for those who just want to do investment in that way. And of course, you want to go into the exchange of gold. It is not very, very high in the exchange because the fact that the differences between the gold prices are not as high as if it's very vulnerable, where you lost a lot or whatever. So the minimal exchange is said that it's a very small percentage. So this is very stable commodity and exchange, where it is very sustainable. Yeah, now that it is also going digital. Now, of course, when you talk about trading comparison, there's always an element of if you want to go by pure trading, if you want to invest in gold or invest in insurance, invest in unit trust, invest in bank, if you were to review which one will give you a higher return for your asset, by all means, it will be gold as compared to your investment putting in the bank, in the unit trust, or in the insurance. Yeah. The same thing when you want to go into business investment. A lot of people will buy property as part of investment. They go to equipment and machinery, asset as for their investment, or into stones as part of investment. But gold is always in the heart of men and women for people to invest, because it is a very good business itself for anybody who's trading gold as part of their business culture. Yeah. Now, where is where I just want to go a very brief through regarding what it takes for anyone to get into the entrepreneur world of the IMAS gold. So why did we want to make it as simple, as lucrative, as a low entry point? Because it has the transaction of digital. That means it at no cost to anyone to do a business with the digital gold IMAS. It's not about setting a company. You don't need to have a huge capital to set up a company. No, your investment is as good as what you pay, because it has got a digital accounting, which has got minimum administration fee, and it gives you the ability to decide when and where you want at any hour. So it has got multiple streams of how you want to make revenue, whether you want to do it as a gold trading investment, or as a physical trading investment, or as a fixed investment. Is entirely the appetite of the entrepreneur itself. Yeah. So when you talk about entrepreneurship, people want to get cash day by day if they can, and this is what's good about gold. You don't have to wait. If you have invested and suddenly you want to get the cash back, you can get it. There's no waiting. There's no element of, oh, okay, you have to wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because you have to do the calculation and so on, and to see whether the investment it's locked in. Those are in the old style. But now we are in the digital era. So a lot of it has already been done in a systematic way, with the best of security, with the best of cyber laws, with the best of inventory control, with the goal that people are looking at it. So it is backed asset by gold. So there's no way any transaction done if there's no gold behind it. So this is what we believe, all the elements of security has been checked. Yeah. So if anyone wants to invest for a lifetime and retire, I guess this is also a good source. If someone wants to see how the convergence of the gold trading and technology works, I think there's a lot of briefing that we're going to do and share with the people, because this is not about relearning technology. It's about the conversions and how easy it is for us to transact. Like those days, our parents would not know how to pay through the mobile phone, because everybody would think it is very difficult. But when to do our transaction through the mobile phone with a very simple technique of training about how to use it in terms of the security and all that, there you go, the critical mass can handle it in a much more reliable manner, secure, and of course professional. And for those who wants to, as I said, there's an element of you buy and sell, you do multiple profit sharing. You want to go traditionally by selling gold as a dealer. You have a long-term ability to do that. You can also become a distributor. There's all sorts of opportunities depending on what do you like to do with respect towards gold. Yeah. So then you are, when you have this account, if you want to go digital, all you have to do is open an IMAS gold account. So this is the basic account where you only transmit or call to open an account, which is 650 ringgit for the opening of account, where you will get worth of 2 grams of gold, which is there already. And of course, the transaction is backed by gold, and the admin fee charges is only 10 ringgit. So there's no way that you're losing a lot of money whatever transaction that you're going to do. Yeah. And then there's an element of the flexi program where you have the ability to add in whatever amount or money you want to at any point of time, 50 ringgit, 10 ringgit, 100 ringgit, it's there. So you can look at the market price of the gold every day and look at when you want to buy, when you want to sell. Again, there will be education about it so that you know how to decide. Yeah, and it's a very simple understanding about how people do trading. Just like any stock exchange, you do trading, gold is the same thing. It's a very single platform for you to understand it. And then you have the financial services for special projects, for people who want to use it as a collateral for your own businesses. It can be done because it's an investment that you have parked yourself there, and you can use it as a collateral also. Yeah. So for the IMAS entrepreneurship, it has a supporting ecosystem because, as I said, we have the Aranu, we have the Cahaya Gold, we have the Pajak King, we have the element of all the other various communities that comes in to support. There is an element of gold, enough gold for transaction. All right, enough gold. There will be no situation where there's no gold. All right, there is an element, and the securitization is such that the gold back is already being checked by the system every single minute. So if by any means there is an incident where there is all gold has been sold, therefore you cannot transact any digital transaction because all gold has been sold. Therefore, the next day they will open up the new market again because available gold is available to be transacted. So again, the system has got its check and balance clause. Yeah. These are some of the collection that you may want to buy to give it as a gift. You may want to do it as part of your, investment to give to your employees for their himat cemerlang and all that. That's how you want to reward even some of your staff with the gold asset. Yeah. So this is the transaction if you were to get into the account. So you will get your own user ID, you get your own password, and you will get to do your transaction. By the opening account, which is 650, they verify you with your IC, with your eligibility, everything before they approve it. Once you have been verified and approved, you will see the status approved. Once you do a transaction, if you are not being approved, the status will be there pending. So when you are pending means they have to do a verification on the true nature of your what I call of your not only your personality of your account, means you are genuine. So this is where once you do that and it's been approved, you will have you see where the stock market is, where the price of gold is, and that's where you then see you can go even to a minimum of 10 ringgit to add on to your investment. You can put 100, you put 1,000, whatever amount, it doesn't matter. The amount of gold that you will buy is already transacted here. So it is very transparent in terms of how you purchase your gold.
Dr. Noor, sorry, sorry, Dr. Noor. We accidentally lost your slides. Can you reattach again?
Okay.
Your screen. Yes, the slides. Okay.
Okay, no issue.
So sorry.
No problem. Let me. Okay, can you see now?
I think before this.
Okay, yeah. I'm just about to finish also. Yeah, not sure.
Okay. Yes.
Go. So, let me go back. Mana dia? Can you see now?
Okay. Yes. This one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, from the transaction the process is like this for us to do the checking of the person before the account is being approved. This is the due diligence being done for anyone who wants to have an account on a digital gold platform. Yeah, but if you want to just become a dealer, where you want not only just become an account holder, but you also want want to have a dealer, that is where you park in your money as a license to be a dealer, and then from there you can get a much more cheaper price than the market price. Then you start to also transact selling your gold or the physical gold in a much more better profit. Yeah. So these are things that can help you become more better in how you manage your asset. So we are also looking at a group of entrepreneurs that may we also do a CSR, and we are looking at the opportunity where we will support the B40, where they may have very minimal amount, but if we have a CSR program to support them, there could be a matching grant for them to do the trading with a guarantee. So these are some of the things that we can be innovative on the social innovation. Yeah. So these are some of the things that people want to get into a dealership. This is pure traditional commercial way to just do the selling in a manner you get a higher profit, because you can get a better revenue because of the price of gold that was given to you will be below market price. So that's why how people do the transaction of the business. Yeah. So all in all, I just want to go into that detail regarding what you will earn coming as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of details that will be given, but as I said, this is the new way on how people go digital. In the meantime, people get to understand that technology is also an income builder. So that is what I'm trying to say. Technology can bring income if it has integrated the transaction for people to do it on the fintech platform. So Dr. Alina, so these are the things which I believe can help out a lot of the economic differences out there, and this is one of the most stable income which I believe can help out the program for those who are doing for social enterprise and so on. So over back to you, Dr. Alina.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, Dr. Noor. Thank you for explaining in detail, okay, as a beginner about this goal. So we hope that in the future there will be more to come.
Yes.
Let's look at the Q&A session, whether anyone has any questions for you. Okay, I think not any no questions for the time being. Okay, Dr. Noor, please stay with us because we now have the third speaker. Okay.
Ismah. Okay. Sure.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again. And I think we will have to continue for the transition for the next speaker. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi, Dr. Noor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Ismah is actually a social scientist, okay, from Universiti UITM, okay, Teknologi Malaysia, okay. So her background is in Islamic finance as well as in halal marketing, and Dr. Ismah is actually group leader for research interest group for halal management and science for UITM Mara, and she had been with UITM ever since the year of 2000. Okay, so please welcome Dr. Ismah. Dr. Ismah, can you hear me?
Hold on, please. Yeah, I can hear you clearly, But the thing is, yeah, you can hear me clearly. I hope you can see the slides. Is it on?
Hold on. I cannot see your slide. Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Can you do the screen sharing?
Which
Dr. Ismah?
Yeah, which button should I? Because just now I thought I have shared the screen. I'm not seeing any screen. Is it settings? Should I go to settings?
Okay.
Because just now I thought I managed to get the screen on. Can you see this? Is it on?
Not yet. Not yet. Hold on. I will ask Brother Noor how to go about it. Okay.
Thank you very much. Barakallah. Wait, hold on. Stop sharing. Why is it not on? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Not the presenter. Oh, Bismillah. Okay. Webinar.
Another option, Dr. Ismah, is maybe you can.
I can just
hold on. Okay, I try.
sharing. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yeah, I can share the screen, but I'm not sure where about. Can you screen the screen? Is it available? Still no.
Okay, it says to share your screen. Make yourself the presenter. Can you make yourself as the presenter, Dr. Ismah?
Make yourself as the, you are now the presenter. I can see that, but the thing is, I'm not sure how can I make myself available in the platform. So sorry about that.
Okay, doctor. If you go to your section, you can see a 3 dot, and you click at your part and make yourself a presenter.
The 3 dots.
Yes.
I don't see any 3 dots. I only have this mute audio, start screening. Share.
Okay, hold on.
I tried to share this. I'm not sure whether it can. Are you seeing this?
I'm not able to see you yet, but your voice is very loud and clear.
Can I just proceed with this without having the screen on? Because I don't want.
Maybe you just proceed, and I will wait to see whether there are slides.
All right. Thank you very much. So sorry about this inconvenience. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin wa bihi nasta'in. Wa bi Muhammadin Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I'm Ismah. I co-write this presentation slides with my fellow colleague, my mentor, Prof. Farida Hassan. And the title of this topic would be on the Islamic financial literacy and financial management behavior from the Gen Y perspectives. So again,
Dr. Ismah,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Perhaps is your slide big? Because if you can WhatsApp me the slides or perhaps email to me.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Sure.
I will try to. Okay.
All right. I'll try to do that for the time being. All right. Okay. Hold on, please. I'm so sorry about this.
It's okay.
Bismillah.
Wait, Dr. Ismah, we can see your screen now.
All right. Okay.
It is still okay. So you don't have to okay, if the slides appear, then you don't have to WhatsApp or email me.
Okay, sure. So,
Alhamdulillah, yes, it's on
okay,
air
thank
now.
you very much. Barakallahu
Okay, good.
fikum. So again, jazakumullahu khair, ahsanul jaza. Thank you very much. Again, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizer, Standards and Methodology Institute for Islamic Countries, especially to Dr. Muhammad Noor for the invitation, as well as Dr. Alina for your effort just now. Thank you very much. Barakallahu fikum. So I'm coming from the Faculty of Business and Management, and I co-write this with Professor Farida, and she is now in the Department of Ranking, UITM Global. We are both from the University of Teknologi Mara, based in Shah Alam. So basically our, our presentation for today would be revolves around Islamic financial literacy. And as far as this is concerned, we have some of these. I'm so sorry about the lengthy presentation here because it's quite quick. So again, I would like to apologize for this. But basically, when talking about financial literacy, there are so many papers that have been written with regards to the topic. But of course, to suit the the theme, yeah. So we are here to present on Islamic financial literacy. So there are so many papers that have been written, especially by Lusardi, and of course, here the concentration would be on Generation Y. So what would be the definition of Generation Y? It has been defined by Ng et al. That they are born between 1982 and 2002. And this generation is linked with financial behavioral management to predominantly enhance their financial management skills. But of course, there are so many problems with regards to, especially the current state of pandemic, COVID-19. We have seen, we have witnessed a lot of issues with regards to financial literacy. But more importantly, how does financial literacy accommodate the needs of Islamic finance? Yeah. So this would be some of the issues that we would like to highlight in this paper. So again, some of the issues here is with regards to their financial well-being, and a lot of research has been carried out as far as this is concerned. Deloitte Global Millennial Survey has also conducted, and we also confronted some of the issues and some findings related to the Gen Y. Yeah? So basically, it has been reported that many of this group is linked with that crisis, leading to individual insolvency. This has been detailed out in the World Bank Group report. For example, it has also been highlighted in the Malaysian Economic Monitor, December 2019, where Gen Y has been condemned for living beyond their means, with regards to impulse buying behaviors, easy access to personal loans and credit card financing. And on top of that, they are craving, for instance, gratification. We can see, we can witness that from our Instagram, and seamless online purchase, especially now that we have all this Shopee, Lazada to facilitate online shopping. So again, this has contributed to many problems, many issues with regards to financial management behavior. And what is more interesting is to look into some of the aspects of these the issues, the problem statement that occur, and it has been highlighted again in Clapper et al. 2016-17, where they have indicated that with regards to Malaysian Gen Y, there are merely 36% of them who are financially literate compared to 66% and 51% of the Singaporean and Burmese counterparts. So again, this is quite a statement which is quite horrifying, because we only have 36% of them who are literate. And therefore, we need to look upon what would be some of the initiatives, especially by the government, and what would be some of the takeaway with regards to this generation. And basically, this call for further studies undertaken on financial literacy and financial well-being, which continue to spread progressively. Now again, we have this problem arise within our Muslim population, and what is more alarming is that the fact that we are facing with a number of bankrupts. Yeah, so especially in Malaysia, we are talking about the Malaysian context. Yeah, we are facing quite a huge percentage, with regards to bankruptcy cases, and therefore, in the lights of this, we would like to look into what would be the solution with regards to Islamic finance, talking about Islamic financial literacy and the financial management behavior. With regards to this, of course, we have so many literatures that talks about the having Muslims to be obligated to be knowledgeable, especially in matters, not only matters pertaining to the act of worship, but more importantly on the mundane affairs of life, talking about the day-to-day, the day-to-day activities encompassing economic, trade, and financial dealings. And on top of that, what is the craving? We crave for al-falah, which looking into the success not only in the hereafter, but of course in this current world situation. Yeah, so this would be some of the important context when talking about Islamic financial literacy. And to again to look into this aggressively, we have one of the theory that has been very much focused with regards to behavioral intention. So we are focusing on this theory of planned behavior, and more importantly, to have this extension model of theory of planned behavior. So again, having said that, TPB model is somehow being well accepted with regards to prediction of human behavior. And of course, on the highlights of these issues, we would like to somehow propose, the financial literacy measurement from the Islamic principles, and what would be the impact on some of the components of the TPB theory. So here, the objective of the study is to look into the aspect of financial literacy from the Islamic perspective, and how it impact on the impact of these components to the financial attitude, the subjective norms, and PBC, the perceived behavioral control, based on the extended model of TPB. And at the end of the day, to look into the influence of the three components to the financial behavioral intention. So there are so many literatures that looks into all this. Yeah, so perhaps I would give you, for those who are interested, I will email you personally if you want to look into this. On the other hand, this particular work is in the process of submission as to some of the journals. Hopefully, it will be accepted. And so this is some of the literature review. But I would want to focus, on the more importantly, the hypothesis that is very much incorporated to look into the framework. And basically, as we all know, we have all these three components of TPB. So we have the attitude, the perceived behavioral control, as well as the subjective norm. And this has been somehow looked upon with regards to the financial behavioral management. So the hypothesis one would be looking at the one of the components, which is attitude, and how it somehow relates to the financial management behavior. So of course, as far as this is concerned, a lot of the studies has been somehow having the supported components. So many of the hypotheses has been somehow accepted. Regards to the attitude, but of course the context would be on the conventional finance, and not so much papers that has been written in this particular topic. When I Google, there are only 17 papers that has been written in the same theme, looking into Islamic financial literacy in some of the in Google Scholar, particularly in Scopus, as well as in WSI journal. Yeah, so there are only 17 with regards to Islamic financial literacy. So hopefully this can also be beneficial. Yeah, the contribution is there. So this is one of the hypotheses to look into the attitude in which it is exhibited by Islamic depositors on the influence to the intention to understand better in terms of Islamic banking practices. This is taken from Yayasan et al. 2020. Therefore, H1 would somehow look into attitude towards financial management, having the influence to the financial management behavioral intention. So the hypothesis 2 would somehow relate to the subjective norm, the second component or the second construct of TPB. So we have here subjective norms. I guess when talking about subjective norms, they are basically individual beliefs of the perception held by the reference groups. Yeah, should they perform a certain behavior. So basically our behavior is somehow molded by the environment around us, especially our parents, our peers, our friends. So this is where a lot of the papers has somehow elaborated very much into the social pressure in which they somehow influence a certain behavior. So basically when talking about this, we have some examples taken from some of these from some of these studies. For example, Solikin et al. 2012 somehow illustrate that college students are notorious for being overwhelmingly influenced by their parents in terms of financial matters, especially right now where we can see some of our children. I guess they are not like our conditions, our situations back then, 20 years ago, where I think the changes of attitude by the parents is somehow there. So I guess we are quite, we are quite composed with the children, especially when talking about what they want. So we're trying to giving out what they want, especially when it comes to money matters. So again, with regards to this, we have consumers receiving parental mentorship on financial management, and somehow socialization do materialize in this matter. However, their interactions with fellow peers can also change the type and frequency of socialization activities, thus driving the need to understand financial management behavior. So H2 will be talking about subjective norms regarding financial management behavior is somehow influencing financial behavioral management intention. Now, the third hypothesis is again related to the TPB construct. So we have the TPB construct, the last one, which is somehow related to the perceived behavioral control. And when talking about this perceived behavioral control, it is somehow looking into the perception of ease, the perception of difficulties, in the execution of a behavior. So again, it depends on how literate we are, especially when now talking about fintech, we're really into fintech, so we can see some of the, like for myself, I am coming from the generation Y, so the Gen Y is somehow quite a blur, but we try to tolerate with all of these fintech and of all of this technology automation, that somehow do assist us in our day-to-day life, especially now that we can't really go out especially except for withdrawing money. So that's the only time that we have to go to the bank. So here we have this history trying to look into some of the studies. Many studies has been conducted, and of course those studies are somehow having very concrete answers with regards to these, and in terms of the financial behavioral control, and therefore we believe that PBC or perceived behavioral control over financial management influences financial management behavioral intention. We do also have, there are 6 hypotheses, please bear with me, because we are only now looking into the first components of the of the theory of TPB, but now we are looking into the extended component, which is the Islamic financial literacy. Now, how does Islamic financial literacy fit in this framework? Yeah, so here we try to plug in Islamic financial literacy in such a way that it tries it attempts to look into how business transactions, involving wealth, is to be conducted, especially when it comes to the alignment of the principles, within the society. And therefore, we have so many of these components of these studies. But again, I have to caution you that there are only 17. 17 at current, in which they're looking into Islamic financial literacy. And to summarize all that, looking into the context of the conventional, the conventional the conventional financial literacy, we have the, what do you call this? We have the, we have the understanding that when talking about Islamic financial literacy, it is defined as the capacity of a person to utilize financial knowledge and skills, thereby transforming these elements into a positive attitude and behavior. So this has been somehow defined by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. But of course, we need to have the elements of Islamic values, and this has been highlighted by Rahim et al. And therefore, the definition in this context would highly highlighted on these Islamic values and standards in relation to financial knowledge and skills. So basically, hypothesis 4 would be looking into the people's anticipation that they have this high motivation, in which they would want to accommodate their understanding of Islamic financial literacy to the sound financial management behavior. And therefore, we have H4 that sounds like this. If an individual is literate about Islamic finance, he or she is more likely to have positive attitude towards a sound financial management behavior. So next we have the H5. Again, it's looking into Islamic financial literacy and its component and its relationship to the positive subjective norm. So here again, Islamic financial literacy is believed to influence subjective norm, especially with regards to the financial management behavior. And therefore, we can say that when an individual is financially literate and adherent to the principles of Sharia, the system can be perceived as encouraging. And therefore, we have a lot of, as Muslims, we are very much not only encouraged, but it is made compulsory for us to look into the exposures, not only the exposures, but also undertaking those responsibilities, and more importantly, to practice, whatever that is made compulsory. For example, Ahallallahu al-bay' wa harrama riba. So that is one of the ayah that we would be likely to adopt, to be practiced. Compulsory practice is needed, and here it leads to better comprehension and implementation of specific and related behaviors. So basically, when talking about Islamic financial literacy, we can say that it's an obligation upon us by being Muslims, and but of course, more importantly, we need to look into it positively, and therefore we come to H5, in which we believe that if an individual is positively literate about Islamic finance, he or she will be more likely to have positive subjective norms of sound financial management behavior. Last but not least, we have H6, where we look into the impact of the last component of Islamic financial literacy to the perceived behavioral control. And again, as far as this is concerned, we have to look into many components. When talking about financial literacy, as far as Islamic finance is concerned, we have to deal with the 5 elements of them. Basically, we talk about wealth generation. Next, we talk about the wealth accusation and wealth. Once we have this generate, so we have to more or less compile them, or we try to make sure the investment of that, yeah, because we would want to, what's the word for that? I'm so sorry, but now I think yeah. So we have to accumulate. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So we talk about the wealth accumulation. So generation, wealth accumulation. We talk about wealth protection. So that would be somehow deal with the risk management as well as the kaful. And next we are looking into risk. Somehow we have to look into the distribution. So it looks into estate, whereby we are very much encouraged to Waqaf, yeah, to do Waqaf, to do infaq, yeah, sadaqah, and now that the coming of the what do you call the Korban or the pilgrimage is here, but unfortunately we are not being able to go for our pilgrimage. Yeah? So we have these sacrifice, yeah, the sacrifice of animals is again been made, although it's not compulsory, yeah, but it's very much encouraged for us to do this sacrifice of animals, yeah. And last but not least, we have what we call as the wealth purification, and this can be done through zakat. So the only component which is not available in the conventional space would be on the element of wealth purification, yeah, through sadaqah, through infaq, as well as more importantly zakat, yeah, which has been made compulsory to us as Muslims. And from this, we can see that somehow or other, when talking about financial literacy and its impact on the passive behavior control. So this is likely that a lot of the time, so for example, some of these researchers have revealed that financial knowledge leads to the development of better financial behavior. Yeah, so there are so many cases that has been established, and the discoveries made by Kimball and Shamway have connected higher investor familiarity with higher involvement and wealth accumulation in the share market. So there are so many ways, or there are so many methods of wealth accumulation, and whereby some of the studies has found support, yeah, with regards to the studies that has been conducted. And therefore we come to a point whereby H6 is looking into the individual. If an individual is literate about Islamic finance, he or she will be more likely to have perceived behavioral control towards a sound financial management behavior. And now the sampling is somehow covered, denoted among the young Muslim consumers, yeah, residing in Shah Alam, one of the cities in Malaysia. So currently we are quite, we are blessed, but somehow now I think the current, the increasing number of COVID-19 is somehow very alarming, yeah, especially in my state, yeah, the state that we are currently living in, Selangor. So we have the highest case of COVID-19. Nevertheless, we have conducted this. We had conducted this before, prior to the COVID-19, yeah, last year, yeah, before March, yeah. So here the purposive sampling method was applied among the participants, yeah. And some of the characteristics of the respondents would be, number one, Islam as the religious affiliation. They have to reside within Shah Alam, yeah, and as well as far as this is concerned, they are working professionals, yeah. So basically, we have come out with this. Yeah, we are able to have 300 working Muslim professionals, yeah. And this is the what do you call this? The results, yeah, of the we have done this through Smart SAM PLS, yeah, and the results are somehow, yeah, we can see here some is not supported, some are supported. For example, H1 is not supported, and this gives me quite I mean, this is quite alarming. Yeah? It's a question that needs to be answered. Yeah? Why financial attitude does not have that impact on financial management behavior, and the rest is supported. But again, we also do witness, yeah, H6, yeah, which is not supported. Yeah, and again, we need to answer some of these reasons why. So again, as far as this is concerned, yeah, when talking about financial literacy, why we have this negative feedback, yeah, especially H1, yeah, where the hypothesis was not supported. I guess now my assumption would be they have this financial literacy. They are quite aware of the importance of Islamic financial literacy. However, perhaps there are other constraints, yeah, that are again here to stay, with regards to the reasons for them not supporting Islamic financial literacy. And this is where again some of these results of this needs to be clearly discovered, by, again with some other studies. So again, some of these results are not supportive with regards to the development of studies previously conducted. So here, for example, number one, we don't have the support of the hypotheses, although we have witnessed some of these studies that has been conducted, in which Al-Baiti, for example, and Rahman 2019 and Satsio's Hajikakis 2018 indicated that the more financially literate the consumer, especially with Islamic perspective, the higher their attitude towards their finances. So, but again, we have to fine tune to look into what will be the real issues of this. What makes them having that negative thoughts about Islamic financial literacy, and as to somehow is supported. So again, we can see a lot of studies that somehow has the same answers, regards to subjective norm being one of the components to have better financial management behavioral intentions. So there is a support for H2. For H3, again, the support is there, in which perceived behavioral control was also deemed as an essential component that leads to financial behavioral management. So we don't have any issues with regards to these, but of course, its significant influence is illustrated the apparent and extensive control wielded by Gen Y. So again, Gen Y has the full control. I guess some of these has been somehow contributed by the informations related, and more importantly, they are very much they are somehow generations, with very they are very well versed, in fintech, on this technology. So again, this somehow contributes to these positive hypotheses. And again, some of the results getting from the previous studies, for example, Gen Y equipped with good self-control is inclined to regularly save money out of their paychecks, suggesting better preparation for managing any unforeseeable expenses. And what is more important, they have enough money for their retirement. Next, we move on to the the next one is on the Islamic financial literacy, looking into the three components of this TPB theory. So basically, we when talking about this financial literate Gen Y, they are in compliance with Islamic values, ensuring that they are appropriately situated to provide an evaluation of their wealth management accordingly. So contrary to the above, the current study highlighted that Islamic financial literacy did not influence PBC. So this is the only negative, or the only next to attitude. So we have another hypothesis which is not supported. So here it is highlighted that in our study, Islamic financial literacy did not influence PBC towards sound financial management behavior, and this outcome contradicts those of Arifin bin Sulong, whereby the scholars have unearthed a negative association between PBC and financial literacy. So again, with that, I guess there are so many things in which we have to look into consideration, especially with regards to the government initiatives. As far as this is concerned, one of the aspects that needs to be taken is to look upon the fact that the next generation, the millennium and the current generation, is somehow being exposed, in the curriculum itself. So they have to be exposed in relation to Islamic financial literacy. The the utmost importance of having to follow, and more importantly, the practicality of Islamic financial literacy. And with that, I will end my session for today. Again, I will have to thank the audience for having to listen to me. It is now 6:41, near to Maghrib now, yeah. But again, thank you very much for your perseverance. Thank you very much for your endurance, yeah, to be again present in this lovely conference. Yeah, again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Standards and Methodology Institute of Islamic countries, to welcome me in this conference. With that, aqulu qawli hadza wa astaghfirullahu li wa lakum. Syukran jazilan, syukran ala istima'ikum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you again for presentation. Okay, so any questions?
Yeah, I may have two questions that I would like to ask Dr. Ismah. Is it possible?
Yeah, thank you very much for your response, Doctor.
Yeah. I'm very impressed with your research detail. It reminds me of my early days where I was doing my research on corporate management styles. Yeah? And inside my corporate management styles was the indication for financial literacy also, in terms of in how corporate make decisions to survive their subsidiaries. Yeah. So my question is with respect towards the comparative study between your financial literacy, especially Islamic financial literacy, and the people out there who are understanding the impact of financial literacy. So this element of how much does our Muslim community are really looking at financial literacy as part of their element of sustainability again lah, yeah, because kita punya my basic question is that when people are not strong having the understanding about what it takes to be understanding the terms of finance, they were not able to stand on its own for whatever reason that they will be doing it. So Islamic financial literacy should able to give people a better way of managing their lifestyle, managing their wealth, managing their ecosystem whatsoever. Yeah? So to what extent the research that you do, it's covering the lifestyle of the people who wants to use it as their benchmark of having a sustainable lifestyle, as compared to just understanding that it's only meant for people who want to invest or people who wants to just get into a better system. I just wanted to know that.
Thank you very much. Jazakillah khair, ahsan al jaza. Thank you very much for your question. So again, I can't talk much about because what I'm dealing here is this is only due to my respondents. They're only in inshallah. But what I can tell with regards to this, I guess more exposures, more explanations needs to be somehow exposed to, again, especially the current state of our generations, Gen Y and Millennium. Because as far as Islamic financial literacy, there are so many things that we need to cover. In fact, the definition is somehow the issues that we are confronting. Yeah, so the definition is somehow the issues, and what more the action that comes from the Muslims ourselves. Yeah. So again, having said that, I think the government has put in so much of these endeavors, for us Muslims especially to look into these matters, especially to cover, as you mentioned just now, the lifestyle of the Muslims in terms of wealth management. So Alhamdulillah, we are blessed that the Malaysian government has carried out a very responsive nature. They are responsible in nature, looking into our engagement with regards to having Islamic financial management, and more importantly, to look into the aspect of al-falah. Yeah? So we are not looking into only the aspect of this world, but what do we want to achieve in the long term. So we are talking about the al-falah in this world and the hereafter, and this is what matters to all of us, because as far as al-falah is concerned, it's not only about having to be success in this world alone. So there are many things that needs to somehow be looked upon. We have so many things to do, to somehow look into these matters diligently, and I guess I have to agree with you with regards to this. We are somehow, not to say that we are lag behind, but again, there are so many things that needs to be outreach to especially to the youngsters. And not only that, we have to also look upon the fact that this can also be this can also be adopted by the non-Muslims as well, especially those 4 components. So not really into estate, but of course the other components in terms of wealth accumulation, and the estate planning. So I guess with my limited knowledge, that is what I have been observing so far. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to ask another question, if I'm allowed. Dr. Alina, am I allowed?
Yes, please do.
So we all understood the fact that there's a difference between financial management and wealth management. So that's 2 different kind of component. I would like to have a collaboration, because you have so much knowledge about the witnesses about people not having the literacy, and even now a lot of people didn't have the resources in terms of to understand it from a basic layman's point of view, in terms what it is. Memang banyak limited. So I would like to call for a project where we should line up a series of ebooks of financial management and Islamic financial management, wealth management, and Islamic wealth management, so that people can see the differences between what are the options if they were to go about looking at the applications of financial resources when and where it's needed, because it's in the market, but people doesn't know where to approach, what's the differences, what is it best applied for. Benda-benda macam tu is missing in our ecosystem. So that's why we rely on, in the end, they have to rely on the government to support them, because they don't have that literacy so much. So I believe, I'm from the financial management system before. We developed the government financial management system for reporting to the parliament, respect towards to educate the parliamentarians how to read financial literacy punya data. Itu pun susah. Ini kan pula rakyat. The public. So to educate even the ministers how to read financial data pun, it's very, very difficult to make them understand the depth of that data. So you bayangkan the amount of lack of literacy in terms of understanding the components of finance, where finance and all the elements of other resources which people use it as asset. Ini ke pula sekarang dengan ada digital asset, where it's already looking it from a different point of view of an asset. So I believe if we could come up with a project to line out, kita buatkan banyak e-book yang mana boleh dibeli secara murah, and that can help to bring out this education, not depending on the third-party education, but a system that people buy it for their children. Because we have an e-book store lah. So when we have an e-book store, our e-book store, a lot of the topics are very, very much for adults, for people on a different nature. So when it comes to financial e-book ni, for the basic, for the common knowledge, I have
to agree with that, and I concur with you, and you are most welcome. Thank you very much for the offer. It will be a great opportunity for us to look into these matters seriously again. Dr. Noor. Thank you very much for your comments and suggestion.
Yeah, that's what I think we should work on, so that we can see at least some role of impact that we can guide the people out there when it's done. I always look at that. When tak ada, kita buat macam tu.
Yeah. Yeah, Alhamdulillah, Barakallah Fiq. Again, I will have to concur with you on this. Yeah, so inshallah, perhaps in the future, yeah, we can come together and look into this seriously and to materialize this for the sake of our future generations. Inshallah, Barakallah Fiq.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. And Dr. Ismah, as well as Dr. Noor, I think this is a great start because we have UITM, and then we have Dr. Amir from USIM. USIM also has many talents or scientists in the social science as well as in applied science who are into this Islamic finance. Okay? And then we also have many of our academia counterparts also from other universities like IPPH, UPM, as well as IIUM. So I think this is a very nice timing that we should strive, like what Dr. Ismah mentioned just now about Al-Falah, heading towards excellence, and then we shouldn't make this Islamic finance exclusive. It should also be user-friendly and inclusive, and actually we look forward for further actions after this as a continuity. So today is just a beginning. So I think we are almost to the end of today's session, and if there are any mistakes, I will ask forgiveness from you all, and to all our attendees who have been very loyal, thank you for your commitment to hear this Majlis Ilmu, and I am also very grateful for all the presenters. Till we meet again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Please have a nice weekend.
Stay safe.
Thank you very much. Stay safe.
Dr. Noor, we shall be in contact, inshallah. Barakallah fiqh.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam.